Well, it's time now for the morning line here on KMA. Of course, the changing of the guard is taking place at Shenandoah City Hall. With the end of next week, Jim Davey officially steps down as Shenandoah City Administrator. And for the last few weeks, Davey has been busy breaking in his successor, A.J. Lyman. And we're delighted to have both gentlemen with us live in the studio this morning. Good morning to you guys.
Good morning, Mike.
Good to have you with us as we kind of pass the baton or pass the torch, however you want to say it. But first of all, Jim, can you kind of describe the transition work that's being done to help AJ assume his duties, or assume your duties, so to speak?
Well, that's one of the things that I requested of the council, is that we allow for some sort of an overlap between the new guy and myself, so that I could kind of show him the ropes a little bit. Obviously, 1 month is not enough time to show him everything, but he's a sharp kid, or I'm sorry, a sharp young man. And he's a quick study, and he's kind of followed me around. It's been kind of a shadowing process, and we've dealt with several instances with different departments and with citizens in the community. So I think he's got a fairly good idea as to what his role and responsibilities are going to be down the road.
The fact that AJ is a Shenandoah native, does that give him any sort of an advantage in this situation?
None other than he's already has some established enemies, I would suppose. And friends, fortunately. Yeah. No, actually, it is a good thing. Learning the community, the streets, and the layout of the businesses and so forth, that's a big part of what we need to know. So he's already ahead of the curve on that part.
AJ, we've talked about your background before, and you are a Shenandoah native, but for the last several years you've worked with FEMA, and you're coming back after, I guess, 18-some years. From your standpoint, how smooth of a transition has it been for you thus far?
Well, it's been pretty great from my perspective. I mean, working for the federal government, we don't get this overlap time that I'm getting here. A lot of the time, the job would have to be vacant for a certain amount of time before you could refill it. So actually getting the chair time to follow Jim around and to learn the job hands-on from the guy who's been doing it for the last 3 years has been great.
Is it any sort of a change of pace coming from FEMA to, a small town city hall?
Not really. I mean, different scale is how I would put it. There's still plenty of things to do every day, and lots to work on, lots on the day-to-day, and lots to do for the long-term projects that we're working on. So it keeps the day busy and engaging, and I'm learning something new every day. It's been pretty great.
What's been the most surprising thing taking over this job so far?
I'm not sure.
Maybe you haven't had surprises yet.
Yeah, no.
Everything's been a surprise.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, most surprising. I don't know. I mean, just I guess finding out, in those years that I've been gone, who's doing what now, and what has changed in town and what hasn't, and seeing how the community's developed over the years.
Well, how has the community changed? I mean, you go away from the town, you grew up here, you graduated from high school year in about 2001, and you've been gone for several years. What are some of the changes that you notice offhand in the community?
The change in hand of, some of the businesses, especially downtown area, and then, with Eaton's going through what it's going through. That's been a little bit different, and then just some new faces, some folks that I kind of knew from the area that have come into town now, and then how many people that are of my, I guess, generation that are actually back in town that I didn't realize were back in the area and heavily involved in the community.
Jim, I know you've been here for many years. In addition to being city administrator, people know you were a police chief, and you were a city councilman. That was during your various trips to Iraq to train military police there. What sort of changes have you noticed in the community over the years that you've lived here?
Well, Shenandoah has always kind of been a community that's able to adapt, and AJ mentioned the Eaton layoff situation, which a lot of people thought would be devastating, and it was tough on a lot of families. I understand that, but we always seem to be able to come up with alternatives, and like AJ said, we've got a lot of young people not only staying in the community after they get out of high school now, but coming back like he did and like I did 25 years ago. So there's a tremendous amount of appeal here in the community, and it's, not just, we've got a beautiful downtown and we've got a lot of nice parks and recreation facilities, but the people themselves, they work together, they strive to make sure that things go the way they're supposed to go. Our council and our mayor and Skia. We all work very closely together to see that, to try and do our best to promote Shenandoah as a wonderful place to live.
We're talking with Jim Davey and A.J. Lyman, the city administrator's present and future, here on the Morning Line on KMA this morning. Jim, we've talked to you a little bit about, looking back at some of the accomplishments that have been made during your time and made by the city during your time. If you had to say that you're proud of one thing that happened here in the community during your 3 years as administrator, what would that be?
Oh, golly. We've had some very good, successful projects. The tennis courts, the Safe Routes to School project. But truthfully, dealing with the people on a day-to-day basis, that's what our job is about. And I would like to think that, when I leave here, that people would say, well, Jim was very responsive to the needs of the citizens. No, I couldn't do everything for everybody, and I never expected to be able to. But I would like to I'd like to be able to say that I at least remained in contact with the complainant and did my best to do what is in the capacity of the city to do. So really just kind of bringing the community together a little bit better, bringing the workers of the city together. We've got an excellent group of employees within the city, and I'm going to miss them. That's going to be the tough part, is to be able to walk away from those folks that I see and work with every day. So major accomplishment is just making sure that, or seeing to it that that the citizens of Shenandoah feel like that they're getting their money's worth from the city, from City Hall.
What sort of advice have you passed on to AJ about this job?
Well, don't get despondent. I mean, some days are going to be really, really hectic and miserable, and you're going to go home in the evening and say, why did I take this job? And then there are going to be days where you get home in the evening and you go, wow, that was really a great day. I accomplished something. I helped some people. Just kind of keep an even keel as far as your emotions are concerned. Don't take things personally. People aren't attacking you as an individual. If they attack you, it's because of the position that you're in, and you have to do your best to deal with that.
AJ, in the short time you've been here, what has it been like having broken in, having Jim break you in? Have you gained a lot of knowledge from him so far?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, every day I'm learning about a dozen new things and trying to absorb everything that I can from him. And he'll give me little pearls of wisdom along the way and say, oh, yeah, remember this when, 6 months from now when I'm not answering the phone, you're going to want to deal with that. So.
When he's on the beach somewhere, yeah.
No.
Well, have you set any sort of immediate goals for yourself or for the city based on some of the things you've learned so far?
Well, we've got the whole water plant issue. I'd like to get that put to bed before too much longer. I know it's gone. I mean, it started even before Jim took over. So if we could get that in our rearview mirror in the near term, that'd be great. And then, just continuing to work with the different departments and with Skia and figuring out, where the city best fits in and can help support the goals of the community.
Jim, what are your retirement plans?
Well, I've had people ask me that a lot. What are you going to do when you retire? And my first response is probably nothing for a while. Travel a little bit. I do have some commitments as far as out-of-state weddings in October. But other than that, I'm just going to take it easy and catch my breath and start taking care of some of the honeydews that I've been making a list of for the last 20 or so years around my house and so forth. But I'm not in really any hurry to do anything. I'm still going to be in the community. If people think that I'm going to be gone forever, I'm sorry to disappoint you. I'm still going to be, at Walmart, at the grocery stores, and walking around downtown. So I really have no big significant plans at this time.
Well, AJ, we thank you for being here, and we wish you the best of luck in your new job, and we'll have you back here occasionally talking about things in Shenandoah, and thanks for coming in this morning. Jim, on behalf of everybody here on KMA, we want to thank you for all the cooperation and help you've been to us, not only during your time as city administrator, but in police chief and interim police chief, city councilman, and thank you for what you've done for us, and enjoy your retirement, and enjoy your last week at City Hall.
Well, thank you very much, and I just want you to know that I've always had a good relationship with KMA, and you guys have done a fair job of reporting the news in the city, and I commend you for that.
Well, we appreciate that. Jim Davey and A.J. Lyman, gentlemen, thanks for being with us this morning on The Morning Line here on KMA.